Yeah, this whole episode was like a dream sequence. I think we were just supposed to be in her mind. This is the stuff her mind's going through, and the shit she tries to bury in her mind.
This ain't nothing but a nigga that got that nigga showing off, bro. It's like, yo, look, like check this out. Check out my camera work.
I
Check
guarantee this is
out
they were going for one of those scenes. It's like one of those scenes where you get awards for it. Like, oh, look at her acting in this. You know what I mean? Because it was mainly just her acting. It was just her.
she gonna get a what do they call it? She gonna get an Emmy.
Yeah. But it just kind of it just kind of felt this episode felt so out of place and I want to say unnecessary because we're invested in the story of where the hell is this baby.
Yeah, this episode reminded me of like, you know, an artist comes out with like a certain amount of albums and then they change their style up a little bit. Like this was Yeezus. This was Yeezus.
Out of nowhere, right?
Of Kanye's collection. I was like, yo, why would you do that?
Hey, it was one interesting quote though. She said when she was another part of her speech, she was like, your mother made a deal that Apollo is gonna have to pay for later on, and it showed him at baby Brian's grave.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So it's like, is he dead for real?
So I thought that he was like, I wasn't 100% sure if that was the baby's grave because I didn't pause it or Apollo's dad's grave.
You are now tuned into Black on Black Prime.
Right. Disclaimer: no matter if we liked your movie, liked your show, or hated the show, or hated your movie, doesn't matter. We respect you, shout outs to you, and we support you, and we try to get everybody else to support you like we support you. Black on Black Prime, we stand on what we say though.
And just like always, if you didn't ask for our opinion, we didn't ask you to listen to it. So, sorry.
Click and turn it off.
Oh shit. Yo.
Hey, y'all. Guess what? I wake up at 3:00 in the morning to go to work. I happen to be going. Today is Thursday night. I happen to be going out of town tomorrow. So the only time we can record is if I stayed up to midnight. So I stayed up to watch this episode of what the fuck is the Changeling, and I literally felt like I just didn't have to do this. This was I understand what they were shooting for. I understand what they were trying to capture, but what they were shooting for and trying to capture had nothing to do with the storyline for the most part.
I'm gonna give them an A+ for production, and like just what they call like cinematography. Like it was A1. You know what I mean? I'll give them that credit, but I think this episode was like one of them. What do I want to compare this to? It's almost like, you know how stuff like has like a prequel or whatever, and it's just like, you know, sometimes you don't ask for all of that. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't really, you know, I'm okay with the present. You know what I mean? You can give me a sequel. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know if certain characters need like a lot of that backstory. I mean, this is an old story. This is somebody else's story. I just felt like I watched an hour to go backwards versus like where's Apollo? Like I feel like I haven't seen this is like Apollo's show. I haven't seen him in a few episodes. I feel like.
I feel like
there's one episode left.
I feel like they I feel like they did a lot just to say Apollo's dad wasn't his real dad. I feel like they took us on a journey for absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then again, like I said, I know what they were shooting for. They were trying to show, they were highlighting the lady's acting skills, and I can appreciate that, but not here, man. Like we've been invested in trying to figure out what's going on. This ain't the time or place for that.
Like, I ain't the, smartest nigga in the world or nothing like that, you know what I mean? But I like to think that I'm quite intelligent. When it comes to like trying to figure out this, I'm like, I'm trying to find like I'm not similarities, but it's just like I'm going backwards now. You know what I mean? I know we got one episode left, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, like the gnomes. I keep calling them gnomes because they're not, but the last episode we got the guys underground.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Norwegian aspect or whatever. We got the changeling. We got the forest. We got the baby. We got Emma's family. Her mom. I mean, is that going to all be in the second episode? I mean, the last episode we got the third wish. I don't even think about the string around her wrist no more. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
It's like that's not even important no more.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, all right, like I'm sitting here wondering, this is like, okay, third wish is gonna be like finale, boom, like we getting it, we gonna get there. And I'm sure they're gonna give it to us. It's just like I'm trying to figure out what. Never mind.
We have to literally get what's the third wish? Where is baby Brian? They mentioned baby Brian. They said, where's his nest? But then they just proceeded to be like, we don't even care about that.
The last episode got to be 3 hours.
Or are they going to hit us with a mid-season finale?
No, it's just a wrap. This is it. I've heard it.
It's the final episode?
I've heard it plenty of places where it's like, it's 8 episodes. That's it. So it's like either a second season and they're going to carry on the story.
I don't think that's possible.
Or this is just it. Like, it's just like they're going to end it off. You know what I mean? And this is, man, it's hard for me to say this is well written. Am I saying it's well written because I don't understand it? You know what I mean? I was thinking that to myself. I was like, okay, man, this is, it's poetic. You know what I mean? Kind of had like some, it felt like a play almost. You know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And it looks really nice. It's shot very well. So it's just like, man, this is great.
So this is gonna make me mad about it because there's a whole chunk where she's dealing with the dude. Clearly he had AIDS and died.
Mm-hmm.
His whole story.
Why was that Apollo's father? Was that?
I don't think that was Apollo's father.
That was Apollo's father. The dude
that was him.
That was like it looked like both of them. Like the other guy, the guy was supposed to be like his boyfriend or something. They both look like Brian.
For real, you think so?
I mean, just look at him again. I was just like, he looks just like his father.
I didn't know that. If it was, that would make more sense because I was like, why are we hearing this story? I don't care about this story.
Yeah, that's that. Well, I don't know if like because she wasn't calling him. Like he was talking about some concert for Lena.
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
Lena Horne.
Lena Horne. All right, so I was just like, all right. Apparently, this is not Apollo's father, but it's the same character.
You think so?
I mean, it's not Brian. Like she's not talking to Brian. With Brian, that would make sense.
I don't.
Right,
I don't know.
So look at it like this, right? Like even with the what's it called? The boss that's supposed to be quote unquote Apollo's black father. That was the nigga that was at the hotel.
Yeah, working the desk.
So it's like, is everybody playing two different characters? Even the mom is playing two different characters. If you think about it, she's playing her old self and her,
They even showed Emma's sister on the street talking about that's not her baby.
The lady with the afro.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's just like I think they just, doubling up on characters or whatever, like on some just like I said, it's telling a story. Like there's a reason for that. I don't think they just did that because they didn't have enough actors to play it. I think
what I'm saying is if he's the same guy, then that whole section makes sense. I thought it was just a random white dude that they were trying to deliver a different message through. I felt like it was too long and I just was like, why are we doing this? So if it's supposed to be Brian's, it's supposed to be Brian. Then it makes, I don't want to say it makes sense. Then I can understand, and maybe there was a different meaning I just didn't catch because I just wasn't into it.
Like you
Like
understand
I
why
think
that
it's like
story
you said,
was
it was shot perfectly. Like everything around it was beautiful. It was shot. It ain't like I was looking at it and just like took my focus off it. I was focused the whole time, but it was just kind of like, why are we doing this?
I was trying, bro. I was really trying. Like I sat there and I was just like, I'm looking at everything. I'm like, okay. Like I'm looking at the script in the table. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this is your sign. They keep saying that. I'm hearing the same phrases over again. I'm like, but I don't understand though. Like I'm still trying to, and it's just like, okay, we're giving you this, but we're not telling you why until
Yeah,
until
maybe.
until later.
Yeah, maybe it's in the last episode, but I definitely feel like okay. So maybe everything we saw was just kind of what's in her mind. Like she's been lying so much. She's buried this lie for so long, and that's why she's going through all of this. Uh because it doesn't make sense to just have like other characters from the show just being different people in here.
Mhm.
It that literally makes no sense. We don't have an explain tonight, so we ain't gonna get no real details. Like I said, all I really got from this was that that wasn't his dad, and she killed him, and he can't, and he showed up to kill Apollo because he probably found out that wasn't, or he probably confirmed that wasn't his son.
Right. Now that's the easy way to let the episode kind of like that's you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like if they would have just did that, then it would have been like, okay, like I get it. Like she, they did show the receipt earlier on in the
mm,
season, you know what I mean, the hotel receipt. Like so she went there with her boss,
mm,
um, and had a baby
mm,
by the man, but made Apollo's dad Brian, well, not his real daddy, think that
mm,
was his baby. You know what I mean?
mm.
And that kind of confirmed a lot of stuff for us earlier on. It's like, okay, Apollo's not mixed.
We said that, yeah, we said that a long
We
time
said
ago.
that earlier or whatever. So the red suitcase. Um, we know that Apollo is not in the suitcase.
I wish he was. So I guess that was just supposed to be her burying her dreams and her secrets. Everything is just supposed to be represented inside of that suitcase,
But
right?
but what's in there? Like I'm thinking, okay, is it like was it all of the stuff that the dad brought back that one day in the box? Like
So I saw her put that tape recorder she made for Apollo. She put that in there.
mhm.
The bloody clothes from killing his dad. She put that in there. She even like yelled in it because like, she heard Brian's voice and she yelled in the suitcase. It was like, "Be quiet." So I'm guessing just everything she hid is supposed to be in that suitcase. It's more of a metaphor than anything, which kind of makes me mad.
Yeah. So it makes sense, you know what I mean? Those are her secrets, right? Like they don't have to really it's not like they got to put a body in a bag for us to know that, that's supposed to be
Mm.
her past. You know what I mean? She was trying to cover it up. And then this twig looking creature at the bottom of the ocean grabs it. But what is that? Because right now it's like I would say if somebody was to ask me to explain the series and what it has, then I'd be like, okay, like this witches, fairies, but stick creatures at the bottom of the ocean, like
So that same stick creature was it was in the very first scene of this show, helping
right.
it holding the boat. And then we seen it again when Emma had that nightmare, reached out for her. And then now it's grabbing the suitcase and bringing it back up to the top. They got to make it all make sense in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But I don't. I figure like that. That's honestly my only prediction is they're not going to give us any like real closure and make everything make sense at one time. Like now, probably broke down and explained. It'll probably
Mm,
give so it'll be like, oh, okay, like I get it now that it's explained. But I don't
mm,
think they're going to sew up every single like. They're not going to close every story up. I think there's going to be
right.
there's going to be some holes there. Like, well, what happened to that? You know what I mean? What happened?
I think it'll be more so we'll have to they this type of show they kind of want you to go back and watch it again to see what you missed. So I think the holes will be closed, but we're so focused. We're invested in finding out where the hell this baby's at.
Mhm.
That's where our investment is. But they're doing other shit in here. What was I about to say? Um, so you saw that they were on the island that the women are escaped to when they were on that date. Did you see that?
When they were on that date. You talking
Mm-hmm.
about the Brian and Lillian?
Mm-hmm. Remember, he was like, "This island they used to send the crazy women to." He was like, "Now it's all abandoned. It looks like luxury hotels." And what the way he was describing everything was like he was describing those women. It was weird because he was like, "Yeah, they would send crazy women here." And he was like, "You guys women come here," and like, and he was like, "Nobody loves you anymore, so nobody remember you, or
Yeah, like
nobody would come to get you."
what did he call her? He called her something. What did he call um a glamour or something like that? Does that mean whore?
He called it that.
I think so. I think that's what he meant. You know what I mean? Because it's just like
Yeah.
after a while, because like they had like this even in their arguments or whatever. Well, not even an argument. Like the narrator was explaining
Mm-hmm.
like the feelings that she had like when around Brian or whatever. Like either it was like he was screaming at her like on some like like I'll punch you in your face and turn you to dust type of what I mean, and or he was saying how beautiful she was.
He didn't say punch her. He said, I want to punch the wall to my
I
fingers
was being
turning to
funny.
dust."
I was being,
Yeah.
but it's like I guess it was like those two. Like he had two uh like two personalities maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So man,
He was bipolar.
right.
I mean, and then that what you saying that would explain the dude dying being him. Maybe she knew he was gay on the low or something.
Mm.
That would explain that. What do you think about when she's in the bathroom? She looks up and the hotel dude busts in because the girl's being like almost raped, and he was like, "You touch her again, you're gonna find your body in a suitcase in the sea."
I mean, I think that was just that was telling us that that's what made me feel like there's got to be something in that red suitcase that's like it's a person or what I mean
Mm.
somebody's it represents somebody,
Mm.
what I mean, and him being the guy that she cheated with, and he's saving this white woman that's being attacked by the white guy.
Mm.
Who was the white guy? Do you recall who he was?
No.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what that. I'm not 100% sure what that meant, other than the fact that they were letting us know that the suitcase what's in the suitcase represents like a person.
Mm.
And as far as I know, now I would love to watch this breakdown at this point because I want to know
Yeah.
certain things. I want the breakdown guy to be like, hey, man, I don't know what's going on.
That when I was watching it, that's what I was thinking about. I was like, dude, gonna do a video like I can't tell y'all what's going on.
Oh, he gonna piece it up. Like he's pretty good as far as we've seen so far or whatever. I think he's gonna piece it up because there's a lot to be talked about in this episode. Like even
Mm.
remember when you were talking about on the last episode about how they broke up the word fairy tale? Like they
Mm.
did it on the table. They broke up the
Yeah.
word. It was fairy and then tale. I mean, the story that was talking about like New York and like garbage spilt out on the streets. Like I said, I paused it and read it. It was about like garbage being spilt on the streets
That's how it started.
in
That's how the
New
show
York.
started.
Right. So I was just like,
Mm.
what does that mean for that to be carved in the table?
A lot of this shit don't make sense. And then it was like, if you're looking for a sign, this is it. It said that about 4 times in here.
And
That was carved in the table too.
it was quoted by saying V at the end. Like, how like you quote a person's like, or whatever, it was like dash V. Who's V?
I don't know who the fuck V is.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like who has the initials V in this show, and I'm like, ain't no telling. Because I was like, Lavelle is the
Maybe they just
narrator,
call him Vale.
possibly.
Did you catch when she was telling the story about meeting the dad, and then he was like correction, and she would say something else, he'd be like correction.
Who's meeting the dad?
His mom, Apollo's mom, was telling the story like,
No, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. It was like
yeah,
it was weird. It kind of came out of no. It was like a weird scene, but I don't. Yeah, I know what you're talking
well,
about. Though.
I think he was saying correction because she was describing how she met Brian, But he's kind of like, the narrator's probably saying like, nah, that ain't his dad.
Yeah. Apollo's mom is, she was out there in the streets pretty much. You know what I mean? Like um, immigrant came to America. And do you think that I'm trying to go back, right? Like, so when she first met Brian, she was working at that place.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, like, he was there for something else, though.
He was there. He said he was a parole officer
Like
for
a
the white
parole
dude.
officer. So, damn, I can't sit here and try to like break all of this down, man. Like, I'm keep it real. I'm thinking about. I'm trying to go backwards, but I'm just like, yeah, that's gonna take me a second. Like, I might have to sit on this episode if I'm trying to break it down. But we'll know tomorrow what it's about.
Yeah, when I watched that, fucking yeah. I will say, I did remember, after this episode went off, when we had to wait to the very last scene to see the dude's name in the book with her, like to confirm that he was the father. I do remember when she was working at that office and she was bringing Apollo books, he would give her books to bring him.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you think he knows that's his son and he just kind of like, I'm not dealing with him?
I mean, yeah, because he's like married, right?
Is he married? No, I thought he wasn't married. I think that's why the ladies in the office was talking about it, like, oh, he likes you.
Oh, well, I thought he was married.
You could be right though. I mean, I just remember the lady saying like, oh, he's sweet on you, he likes you. And then he gave her like the concert tickets, and that's what she flipped on him.
Yeah. I'm totally I'm trying to think of the time that she met Brian. Did she meet Brian shortly after all of this happened, or did it happen in between?
I can't tell. So and the reason why I can't tell is because there was a point where she was in there with the younger her, and she was like, a promise that you made, and they both looked down on their stomach. So I'm like, what because she showed up with the blood on her already. I'm like, is this after she killed him and she's pregnant with Apollo, or is Apollo already here? Like, that part really confused me. The whole hotel thing was overly confusing because the hotel is where she was supposed to come when she came from Africa. This is like the first place she went to. Yeah. She's starting to try to discover her dreams and all of this, but then she has the same bloody clothes on that she had when she supposedly killed him.
Do you think that? Well, I mean, that couldn't have been it because we see Apollo talk to his mom in the present. I was gonna say, I was like, do you think it's like she was there to commit suicide at one point, and then her present self saved her older self? So I can't say that she's not real because she was talking. She's they've had conversations with Apollo.
Yeah, this whole episode was like a dream sequence. I think we were just supposed to be in her mind. This is the stuff her mind's going through, and the shit she tries to bury in her mind.
This ain't nothing but a nigga that nigga showing off, bro. It's like, yo, look, like, check this out. Check out my camera work.
I guarantee this is. They were going for one of those scenes. It's like one of those scenes where you get awards for it. Like, oh, look at her acting in this. You know what I mean? Because it was mainly just her acting. It was just her.
She gonna get what do they call it? She gonna get an Emmy.
Yeah, but it just kind of felt, this episode felt so out of place and I want to say unnecessary because we're invested in the story of where the hell is this baby.
Yeah, this episode reminded me of, like, an artist comes out with like a certain amount of albums and then they change their style up a little bit. Like this was Yeezus. this was Yeezus.
Out of nowhere, right?
Of Kanye's collection. I was like, yo, why would you do that?
Hey, it was one interesting quote though. She said when she was another part of her speech, she was like, your mother made a deal that Apollo is gonna have to pay for later on, and it showed him at baby Brian's grave.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
So it's like, is he dead for real?
So I thought that he was, like, I wasn't 100% sure if that was the baby's grave because I didn't pause it, or Apollo's dad's grave. Because that's an old ass tombstone. And they both
named Brian. They both got the same name.
Right. So that tombstone looked like a a tombstone from a long time ago. That it looked like no 2023 tombstone.
It could have been an old one.
Yeah.
It was so much shit going on in here, man. I don't understand why they had the sister screaming, "That's not a baby"
On the streets. Yeah.
I just didn't. Thinking back to the funeral of baby Brian when she met in the restaurant and Apollo was like, "Thank you for helping her planet." What did she say when he tried to give her the money?
What did she say?
Yeah.
Well, at first she didn't want to take it.
Yeah, she said something though. He tried to slide her the check, and she said something.
Yeah, I can't recall the exact quote, but I know that's the same scene where I thought that she wanted to tell Apollo that third wish. But I can't really recall exactly what she said. I would have to go back.
Right. It's just too much. I'm ready to see how they're gonna make an attempt to wrap this shit up.
Oh, they got it. They got it wrapped up. I'm trying to like what's the next episode called? You know?
I didn't see it this time.
Okay, I'm kind of interested in what it's called. This one was called "Stormy Weather," which was the song that Lillian was singing to the guy with AIDS.
Yeah, hey, you think that was Brian?
I mean, it looked like him. So yeah, the last episode has got Apollo in it. Like you can see his face. It's like the Battle of the Island. Kindergarten's fury rips across the island, sending Cal, Apollo, and others into the darkness. So it's like you can tell that this one is going to take us back to Apollo being there with William. You remember, like the last episode we saw with Apollo was when William was like a new person.
When you say kindergarten,
right? So it's like it's going to take us to that, and that's going to be the last episode. Now, there has to be a second season. There's no way that they can just end it and that's hey, yo, check this out, yo, this is it. Like they can't. There's no way. But did we need certain episodes? Because like it could be like they could wrap an episode. You know how like sometimes episodes are just there or whatever. But if you go like it's not in chronological order or whatever. Like if you take episode 8 and put it behind episode 6, then you know what I mean? Like
right,
it's like,
right.
That 7th episode didn't mean nothing.
I kind of feel about this one. I kind of feel like this episode was. It's like I don't want to speak negatively about it. I have no issues with how it was shot, what was shot. I have no issues with none of that. It just felt like it didn't need to be there. It felt like a wasted episode.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about the Emma episode, you know what I mean? It's like it was showing us what happened. You know what I mean? Like it was still carrying the story that we started with.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like now, backstory is just like, all right, so if you gave me Apollo's mom, are y'all gonna give me Emma's mom and dad story? Can we,
right?
Because like, why wouldn't I get that too?
Yeah, because it has to be important, but I don't think it's more. I think it's like you said, Apollo's is he is the show.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna tap into what Emma's going through, then you got to give us that background too.
That's what I'm saying. You give us a whole episode about what Emma went through at the island.
Hey, you know what's funny? When I found myself watching the first episode and watching when the mom is in the car with her brother and the sister in the back. Who shot the brother?
I don't know. It didn't show the guy pull the gun out and put it to his stomach. Like it looked like the shot came from something else.
Yeah.
I wasn't. It didn't look like the soldier shot him until like they drove off. That's the only time I saw them actually
when they started shooting.
Yeah.
So that's weird to me. That's one. Two,
Lily shot her brother in order to escape.
That'd
be crazy.
Or who's the lady in the back seat?
There's no way she could have shot him in the front of his stomach from the back seat.
I mean, it could have been a shot through the back because all we see is the blood start spilling.
That's true. The lady in the back seat, I was just thinking that was her sister because you know the other one.
Right, where's she at?
They don't show her. They don't have time. So 8 episodes.
Damn, now I'm like you right, and we're gonna get a season 2.
They have to though. They can't just be like, yo, we're gonna give you this I ain't gonna call it a worthless episode, but I'm gonna call it like a background episode, which is cool, whatever. As long as you do more episodes, you can give us whatever the fuck you want to give us. But if you like, this is a limited series, you know, here you go.
You know what this episode was? Remember when Snowfall, one of the seasons, I can't remember which one, we got to the second to last episode, and the second to last episode was Franklin thinking about what could have happened if he went to college. You remember that shit?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but
which it wasn't a bad episode, but it was like right now, nigga, you want to do this right now?
Yeah,
like you could have did this episode 3. We would have appreciated that more. Episode 3. It's too late for this, and then it's like the reveal ain't even. It's like you damn near feel like the reveal ain't even worth it. It would have been all worth it if we found out Franklin. If we found out Apollo died and was put in that suitcase and dropped in the water.
Yeah.
It feel like it would have been worth it. Like, damn, that was crazy. Or actual body being in that suitcase. I don't want no metaphor buried in underwater.
Yeah, I think the last episode is gonna piss us off more. It's gonna be the same thing. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's gonna tie it in a knot and be like, "Yo, this is it. We got y'all. We touched on everything. Boom. It's too. It was too much going on. So there's more to say. Now, in this type of show, right? You can't do I couldn't see this show going like 5 or 6 seasons. Like, it's not.
No.
It can't be. It's not made for that. So that's why I'm like, it's made for 1 season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like I damn near feel like it's not possible to wrap up this show on episode 8 unless episode 8 is 2 hours long.
Tell you, it's gonna be a poetic ass ending that's going to, like, the shit that we aren't catching is the closure. Like, while we once it's explained, and once we go backward, when we just like, oh, they did close this part out. There's just so much information and so many things, where it's like we're skipping it over trying to follow the story.
So it's like, maybe it's like I said when I said I watched episode 1, and I feel like maybe that was the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're too. I mean, it's a good show or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think they're just like gonna give us a BS ending, even though I know I'm pissed off at the ending, but I know like it being broken down a little bit is gonna make sense going backwards.
Yeah. You know what you know what's crazy? What I almost thought watching this episode, while the mom is telling the story, and it always bothered me that, because normally you watch a show, even if it's like a back in the day to present, they always use the same actor for both characters. I felt like at a point, I felt like the mom was like, she was gonna reveal that she's like a crossdresser, like a man, like a transgender, you know what I mean, and killed. So it's like, I feel like it was gonna be like, because she said a part, like, she was like, how do you leave your child at home by herself? And I'm like, is she gonna say she showed up and killed the mom and kidnapped Apollo?
That's wild.
But this is what my mind was going when she was putting on the dress and shit. This is when she's talking like that. She's like, I always wanted to be, or whatever. And she was just like, how does a mother leave her child at home? And she's saying it while she's getting dressed. So I'm like, you gonna say you ran up in there and killed her and took the son?
Because what they did say at one part is like some lady in a gold dress got stuffed under the bed and killed. A transsexual lady or trans lady. But it's like, yeah. Why would the trans lady have the baby
though? This show is about babies being kidnapped.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I you know what? Whatever. Whatever, man.
We here, man. I mean, we here.
If y'all want to drop y'all comments, man, like, don't drop a comment like you know something and you really don't. Like, drop a real comment, like, with some real, like, you know, you got a theory, you got an idea. Because we
tell us what you caught, man. Tell us what you caught. Break something down for us that we didn't catch. We'll do that. We with that.
We're watching this all together, you know what I mean? Trying to figure it out, if anything. But, you know, it's an entertaining show. I have to say that.
Yeah, we're still in it.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, I don't want to talk. I'm not talking down on this episode. It just felt like this ain't the right time for that.
Yeah, especially knowing that it's the 8th episode next week.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It is no you know how some shows be like, no, 3 more weeks is coming back. Like, nah, it's next week, the 13th. There's a date on it.
I mean, I'm still interested. I'm still locked in, but man, this episode,
Yeah.
This episode felt so misplaced.
Yeah.
And let's explain, breaks it down to me and shows me everything that I missed. This episode it feels really misplaced. I got like maybe 5 or 6 clues, but other than that,
Well,
hey, I'm really thinking this lady's a transgender now.
I mean, it's just so popular. Anything's possible.
I mean, because when she walked up to the room, the dudes had their feet out. Remember, she was like, when you see a lady, you move your feet. And they just started laughing.
Yeah, I remember that. That'd be crazy.
I wouldn't be shocked.
That'd be crazy, bro. Now that's interesting.
I'm really feeling like now this baby was kidnapped. Think about it. She stopped her from jumping out the window and said, this ain't how your story ends. But maybe she did jump out that window.
Maybe she pushed her out the window. I mean, ain't no telling, man.
I feel like she's a trans man. I really feel like that now. I feel like she's a transgender. And then that it brings me back to she's a transgender who she stole that baby from the mother. She's the father.
Whoa.
Just man, I'm piecing it together right now. It's like I just got a whole new it's like I feel like all of that was just right there in front of my face. The sign, if you're looking for the sign, it's right here. It was all right there in front of your face. She's the father. Because she's talking about how does a father take a baby from the mother?
Become the mother. That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy. And I feel like that's what it is. Because they never do that where this actor gets older and it's a different actor. Not like that, because they're too close in age. If it's like a kid to a adult, of course. Mm-hmm. But all they had to do was age her to make her older.
Right.
To get a whole new actress
that's different.
She's a transgender who stole the baby. Or I don't even want to say stole the baby.
So where would Charles Blackwood come in to play?
Charles Blackwell did get her pregnant. She killed herself while her son was at home by himself. And the one that's his mom now is the one who showed up and took him.
But why?
Because she wanted to raise him.
But like, where would she have found him? Just like she's went to somebody's apartment?
She's probably known for being at that hotel. She was probably always at that hotel. And she happened to see Charles and what's her name coming in?
I don't know, man. That's definitely something to think about. But they'd have to put that wrap that up with a bow. Like, I need to see that. Like, I need to.
But I think it's like you said. I think they did show us that, but we just didn't catch it.
Didn't catch it. Yeah, the sign is in your face, like how you said. It's there, right in front of your face. But is it really? Because it's like, that ain't shit been in front of my face all season. Like, I had to go back.
We do have to go back, but I think this is what it is. I think Apollo's mom killed the white dude. I think now I think Apollo's mom killed the white dude.
Mm-hmm.
That Apollo's dad is still Charles Blackwell. But I think the guilt from killing that white dude brought her to the hotel and she killed herself. And her son was left at home. And the lady showed up like, I'm your mom now. Because he don't even remember what happened. Remember, he was like, I can't even remember. Did my dad ever show up? It's like he don't remember the stuff from being a kid.
Right.
So she could have just stepped in and took care of him.
Right, because she could have just like you said, she could have just been at that hotel because, you know, immigrants come over and be at that hotel or whatever. So she could have just been there and kind of, you know, seen what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but it's just like it's that I don't know, man. It still would have to make sense why she would find Apollo at the house.
She'd
Like,
have to know he was at the house.
If the baby was at the hotel, that makes a lot of sense.
Something happened. So they never explained. So so the mom shows up, she kills his dad. She kills Brian.
Yeah.
But we never go back to that. We don't know how the body's gone. We don't know nothing.
We don't. All we know is that he tried to kill him in a hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Same way as Emma same way as Emma was supposed to have killed the other baby Brian.
Exactly how.
With hot water.
Exactly. It's the same.
So did Brian, when I say Brian, I mean Apollo's white daddy, did he know that Apollo was a changeling? And that's why he tried to kill him? Or did he just try to kill him because he was a bastard child?
I think it's the bastard child part. Because it seemed like he was crazy. It seemed like he snapped. Like first because he was like, I'm taking my son, but then I think he found out like this ain't my son. And she's still working for the dude that's the real father.
He should have known because the baby's hair wasn't his hair. That's why he should have known. Like, bro, like, come on, man, that's a black baby, brother. That ain't no Drake.
Hey man, I'm just spitting out theories though, but I feel like that's the bait and switch. I feel like that's what happened. The real mom killed herself, and this mom stepped in.
Watch that explained in the morning. That's the first thing I'm gonna do in the morning. I'm gonna be like, "What that explained talking about?" Even though
I want to see if they tap into that. That's crazy.
We ain't gonna be able to talk about it, but you know, hey, maybe we'll talk about it next episode.
Well, yeah, something.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's where we at, man. This show does make you just start forming theories in your head, and I feel like that's what was told to us without being told to us directly.
And that's okay. You ain't got to get everything, and then, you know, some things ain't meant to get like right away because they're still telling the story. You know what I mean? Like we don't know the ending. You know, we don't know what they want to give us, so it's just like, you know, I don't think there's an answer yet.
Right. They said that
because the possibilities at this point, all of the theories that you have and the possibilities are endless.
You said there was a transgender found stuffed under a bed with a gold dress on. Maybe that was where they traded places.
So I said it's totally possible, but it's like if Apollo's at home, then how does she know where Apollo's at?
That's the only part that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's the only part that it's like
that it doesn't make sense unless Apollo is at the hotel. Or that couldn't even be. I was thinking like how we were talking about Lillian's sister that was in the back seat. Like, you know what I mean? Because she had taken over. Are they telling her story? And she took over for Apollo? Because she would have known where her sister lives.
Yes.
You know, but then that erases the whole transgender theory, though.
They don't focus enough to show you if that's a woman or a man in that back seat.
That's true, too.
We get a glance.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This is where we at, man. Like, share, subscribe, talk to us. We talk back wherever. If you there, comment below. Let us know what you think. Do I sound crazy? Am I a changeling?
Get some hot water on your ass, nigga.
Anyways, man, we out. Next episode, season finale. We on it.
Peace.
Hey, man, we almost got offline. But we back on because we found an explain. So we gonna run through it right quick.
That's funny. All right, let me share my screen with you.
If you're like me, you watched this latest episode and were like,
wait, what's going on?
Yes, it wouldn't be an episode of The Changeling without throwing in an entire dream episode that'll have you questioning everything. Fret not, we're going to try to unlock some of the episode's biggest questions and theorize what's really going on. Keep in mind, I haven't read the book, so there won't be any spoilers. And
Victor, that's what the V stands for.
Now let's get into it. A lot of you may be wondering what the hell was going on in this episode, and don't worry, I had to watch it a few times because it can be quite confusing. Essentially, we have older Lillian reliving the night younger Lillian killed her husband Brian, where every character is played by someone we've seen in the first 6 episodes. The narrator states
that was William.
Past our dreams.
Yeah.
Implies what we're seeing here is a dream of a past event. It also explains why these roles are filled from people we've already seen. Lester, the hotel manager we saw as Lillian's boss. The 2 guys in the hallway were a part of Apollo's single dads group at the park. Brian plays an AIDS victim. The prostitute was the woman from Apollo's support group. The John, of course, was William. And the woman with the baby outside was Emma's sister. So even though we see older Lillian attempting to call Apollo with her cell phone, the setting here is actually New York 1982. We're at the Elk Hotel, an apt name considering it's an animal called the King of the Forest in Norway. The hotel's original purpose was to serve immigrants coming from overseas. Interesting, since the first shot of the series was about immigrants coming from overseas, and this episode follows a literal immigrant who came from overseas. Lillian has come to commit suicide after killing her husband Brian, who we see attempting to drown 4-year-old Apollo in the bath. He became suspicious of Lillian cheating after finding a receipt for a one-night stay at the hotel. This same receipt we'll see in Brian's Improbablia box in episode 1. At the end of the episode, we'll see an entry in the guest book from 1977, the year baby Brian was conceived, with 2 familiar names, Lillian and her boss, Charles Blackwood.
Welcome to Lubbock, Weiss, and Blackwood.
In an act of poetic irony, Lillian wants to off herself in the same room Apollo was conceived. But I still have so many questions. How did Lillian get these bruises if Brian was already dead? Did Brian survive the whack to the head and the 2 of them have a fight? And if Brian is dead, how did the Improbablia box wind up on their doorstep years later? A box which contains items like the hotel receipt I'm sure Lillian wouldn't want lying around. The narrator also tells us that Lillian will hold a dying man 3 times. So just who exactly are these 3 men? The first has got to be her brother Arthur, who was shot while fleeing the dictatorship in Uganda. Number 2 could be Brian, if we are to believe that he's dead. And 3 might be the AIDS victim or a yet unknown third person. One of Lillian's lines I thought was really interesting was her saying, "I would kill to be an American." Then at the end of the episode, we hear her saying she finally feels American, which I kind of took to mean she's killed. Lillian has also brought with her a tape recorder. Maybe it's her version of a suicide note, something to leave behind for Apollo once she's gone. Lillian has come back to the Elk Hotel to, quote, unmake a deal. In exchange for getting away with murder and allowing her to raise her child, it looks as though a price must be paid, and that price, at least it's implied, is the life of her grandchild. So she has come back to unmake this deal. Perhaps that's why we see old Lillian back at the very spot she dropped her husband's body in that suitcase. Maybe if she were and admits to her husband's murder, it could bring baby Brian back. But who exactly did she make this deal with? My guess, God. She basically went from not believing in God to believing in him. It kind of felt to me like one of those situations where you're like, God, if you help me through this, I promise to go to church every Sunday. The contents of this suitcase are still unknown, but it's heavily implied that this is where Lillian stored Brian's body. Lester, the hotel manager, also tells the John that if he shoots him, he'll find his body, quote, stuffed in a suitcase at the bottom of a river. We never find out how Brian got a hold of this receipt. Why would Lillian keep this around the apartment? In one of their fights, Brian says to Lillian, "You all glamour, Lillian. You all glamour was the term Cal used to refer to the magic that alters one's appearance, and it's pretty ironic Lillian worked at a glamour/modeling agency. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the quotes we see on the hotel table, ones that we've seen littered throughout the series, but there's one in particular I'd like to discuss. It's the one Lillian writes down on the hotel table. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. This same line was seen last episode where Wheels lives, and it's also a sign Lillian sees before heading into the hotel. Lillian talks about wishing she had seen the signs of Brian's insanity earlier, so maybe this is her way of passing it on, of sending a warning to others who might be in a similar position. Some of you may have noticed that the intro credits changed slightly from episode to episode, with this installment including a cryptic text stating north, south, east, west, where is baby Brian's nest. Unfortunately, we don't get any updates on Apollo or Emma's story this episode, but it looks like the finale will be converging on this so-called nest. At the end, we travel back to the Elk Hotel, which I can only assume is present day. The place is completely abandoned, but the table in the back has been etched with the first passage found in the book, The Changeling, reiterating that this is indeed a fairy tale. We see leftover gold sequins symbolizing Lillian's dream of being a singer. And of course, we can't forget the guest book showing the 1977 night where Apollo was conceived with Lillian's boss. But now I turn it over to you. What did you think of the second last episode? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Man, I still don't know nothing.
He didn't really say nothing.
I still don't know. All right, y'all. Good night.
We out, man. Good night.
Good night, man. I'm done, man. Fuck all of this. Y'all not gonna tell me I don't know nothing. Y'all didn't watch it. Y'all capping. Fuck you, nigga.
Hey, we really ain't got over that neither. I think about that shit every time we talk about it, man. Every time, man. I wish that nigga did videos. I'll go on his page right now.
But nigga, you capping like, dude, even niggas trying to explain this is trying to figure this shit out, dude. It's a lot.
That
it's a fairy tale. It could not make sense at the end. But it's like I said, we in it, man. But
we in it, dude. I just like that he does this and he's still like
that nigga was like, yo, that episode, I thought we was gonna get like a 13-minute, 15-minute explain. That nigga said, y'all tell me.
Hey, he said, yeah, we got a text message about baby Brian. We didn't get nothing about baby Brian episode though.
That nigga said, I think this is the first episode where he said, y'all tell me what y'all think. Oh man, I'm about to hit up Victor Lavelle and they'll be like, yo, what the fuck was you doing, bro? No, I just want to know the ending at this point, but wait.
But we gonna get there, man. We gonna get there. I just like to see that he was just as lost as us. That lets me know I'm not crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, Black on Black Prime. We here for this.
We out again.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify and follow us on IG and TikTok.